With another statement win, and you can see the fans in Green Bay, who are a unique bunch, have this fence. Thank you, Jerry. And as I was looking at that video in our break, Peter, the thought jumped into my head. Could this be the second season in a row we have something like this? Last year, the story of the league was Saquon Barkley, new place, dominating, leading a team to a championship. Is Micah this year's Saquon?
It's eerily similar in that Joe Shane was on Hard Knocks, the Giants GM, and we had it all on video. We had him saying the words that were going to move on from Saquon, so it was almost like the smoking gun of here's the mistake that was made. Jerry has so many quotes on camera and so many things in paper that he actually has said we're better off with Micah. We need to improve the rushing game, the run defense game. Kenny Clark improves us. It's all right there. We saw it all on video. Micah Parsons could be the Saquon Barkley of this.
Which leads me to ask you, Mike Tannenbaum, like inside that building, right? If you're inside the Cowboys building and they've got their game with the Giants to deal with, and we're going to make picks on all these. We'll get to the Cowboys in a minute. But if you're not Jerry Jones, if you're someone else in that building and you're watching Micah right now becoming the story of the league, what thoughts are going through your mind?
Massive regret that, again, how we approach things strategically, Greeny, puts us at a massive competitive disadvantage. When you have a future Hall of Famer by any metric who's 26 years old and you hit on your own first-round pick, sign him right now. A year ago, they should have signed him. The fact that it got this far, we talked about it for months, Greeny. Nick Bosa was at $35 million. Now we're all the way up to $47 million. It is as deflating to the Dallas Cowboys as it is invigorating to the Green Bay Packers. They are human. They all saw that game last night. He's a great player that makes everybody else around him better.
I mean, but he didn't make the Dallas defense that great. They still got the ball ran down their throat. So it's like one of those things. They weren't winning with them. It's not like they had the number one.
Yes, they were. When Dak Prescott was healthy, they were going to the playoffs
They won
every year.
12 games 3 years in a row with or whatever it was with Micah at the beginning of his career.
And they got sent home because Green Bay did what to him? Ran the ball at Michael Parsons.
Okay.
So it can work out for both teams. We can't determine who wins this trade until what we see Dallas does.
Well, I push back, Bart, because in week 1 on Thursday Night Football, when Jalen Hurts was standing back there with all kind of time to run,
I get it.
And then he did rush for touchdowns, it was because you didn't have that relentless pursuit from a guy like Michael Parsons. So Jerry is willing to down the hill that I'm not willing to down. And sitting here continuously saying that, hey, we're going to get multiple players. You have a generational type player. You don't trade a player like that. You just don't do it.
And if you do, Peter said earlier in the show, Greeny, 70 cents on the dollar. I would probably go 50 cents on the dollar. Why not trade him to the
88?
Yeah, why don't you just trade him to the AFC?
That's true.
And those 2 first-round picks are going to be really low picks.
Right. There's no need to relitigate it. I just think it's an interesting storyline to watch all season long. We talked about Micah. I want to go to the other side. So we're having breakfast this morning. A delightful egg white omelet, courtesy of our friend Benny, the omelet chef upstairs. And Harry's sitting there on his phone, and he just turns to me and he goes, Greeny, Matt LaFleur put on a master class last night. What were you watching?
Yeah, number one, your job as an offensive coordinator and a play caller is to put your players in positions to have success. This first play is going to be a 3rd and 3 situation. You're going to see them send this receiver in motion across the field to watch the Commanders, the DB. He's in man coverage and trail technique. The receiver is going to run a 6-yard out, and it's literally like taking candy from a baby, Greeny. Look how easy this is for the receiver and Jordan Love to complete. First down, Green Bay. Now, the second play that I have, they're backed up in their own territory, and watch the eyes of Jordan Love. He's going to tell this receiver, hey, come in and block this safety. But the safety falls for the banana in the tailpipe. Watch Tucker Kraft. Be detail-oriented in your work. Make it look like run.
He is blocking.
Did a great job. Next thing you know, he's catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage. This is a 15-yard gain for the Green Bay Packers. They go on this drive and score a touchdown. Now, the next play I really, really love. You're going to motion this wide receiver across the formation. You're going to create a 4-by-1 formation. They're going to run triple seam. You're going to see the vacated area for this tight end to catch this football. Jordan Love definitely is not going to miss this one. Another explosive play for the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur is running a master class. He was 3 steps ahead of the Washington Commanders head coach and also defensive coordinator. He's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers.
Is it even checkers?
It's not. I think it's like Pick Six or Battleship or maybe even Candyland. That's
Connect Four.
Yeah, I go Candyland because it's like taking candy from a baby. Like when you talk about it, this is talk about intimate knowledge about what Dan Quinn's principles are. Because when you send a guy in motion and it makes a mini bunch of 3 receivers within inside the short area, you got to press the point. You got to throw the timing off and play area. It was all schematics. I mean, it was a masterclass understanding what their rules were from the Washington side.
So here's another thing. What I love about Matt LaFleur as well, when they had success with 5 or 6 plays in the first half, guess what they did in the second half? They ran those bad boys over again. He didn't say, hey, let's just see how many plays we can run and come up with. No. If something had success in the first half, they ran it again in the second half, and they continuously hit them all night long.
They pointed out repeatedly on the telecast last night on Prime that Bart Starr won a Super Bowl at the age of 27. It was an NFL championship then. It was before the Super Bowl. Brett Favre won a Super Bowl at 27. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl at 27. And during this season, Jordan Love will turn 27. Maybe history repeats itself. Final word.
And why it's sustainable, Greeny, is Christian Watson was hurt, Dontario Swift gets hurt, and now we're talking about Tucker Kraft. Every week it's somebody else. They have the depth to get there.
All right, so let's turn our attention to some of the Sunday action that's upcoming. Let's do a more or less, brought to you by ESPN Sportsbook and Fortenbaugh, our gambling expert, back. Joe, Jared Goff facing the Bears. 249.5 passing yards is the total. Do we go more or less?
More. The number is cheap because of the performance we saw last week. Goff and the Lions look terrible, but that's more a byproduct of playing on the road at Green Bay. This is at home against a Chicago defense that's banged up in the secondary. Goff indoors versus Goff outdoors is the difference. Indoors last year, he averaged 280 passing yards per game. We're going more.
All right, Joe, we talked about Saquon Barkley briefly before. Has the showdown with the Chiefs this weekend more or less 88.5 rushing yards?
Less. As great as the Eagles looked in the Super Bowl last year, Barkley carried the ball 25 times for only 57 yards. Why? Kansas City defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo's game plan, sell out against Barkley. He is the engine that makes the offense go. I think he does the same thing here, especially knowing A.J. Brown is not 100%.
And then finally, Cowboys, Giants. George Pickens, not really that involved in week 1. His total is 53.5 receiving yards. You go more or less?
Less. As bad as the Giants looked in week 1, I still think they have a decent defense. In case in point, against Washington, the leading receiver was Deebo Samuel with about 77 yards. If you're getting a wide receiver involved in this game, it's going to be CeeDee Lamb, who had that big drop late in the game. I think you want to get him going. The Giants should be able to run the ball here so you can keep Dallas's offense off the field.
All right, so let's recap again. We've got Goff and the over. We've got the under on Barkley. We have the under on George Pickens. We've made those a parlay. They're on ESPN Sportsbook right now at plus 541. Look for the more or less featured parlay on the homepage and in the parlay lounge. Meanwhile, we mentioned Pickens. I want to dive into that game a minute here. Giants, Cowboys. And Harry, I've been waiting all week to get you in here. I want to show a tape that Dan Orlovsky brought to the show the other day. And it was something that I hadn't really seen much coverage of. The Cowboy game was a whole week ago already. But he pointed out a few plays in which George Pickens does not appear to be giving maximum effort. You played the position. Yep. Let's roll the tape. I want you to tell us what you see. Harry?
So number one here, you're going to see George Pickens at the top of the screen. This safety is coming down to fit the run.